So hey y'all, I'm back with another video. So tonight's video is yet again another Chioma Chats video podcast edition. So by the title, we're gonna be talking about the pressure to be pretty. Now, I spent a lot of 2022 talking about social media pressures, body modifications, the insecurities that come with being a part of this generation, whether you are a younger millennial or a part of Gen Z, or honestly Gen Alpha. So this is kind of waking up a topic that I've talked about before. But the reason I wanted to talk about this today is because I feel like there's been this shift in what we deem as pretty, beautiful, marketable, palatable, desirable, whatever SAT word synonym that you want to use. And the reason for my example with Ari Fletcher is because I do view her, as well as women that are similar to her realm of influence, as basically a pinnacle of the modern beauty standard. And what I mean by that is there was this surge, in my opinion, between 2019 and 2021, basically pre-pandemic and post-pandemic, in which what Ari represents was at an all-time high. Maybe this is an unpopular opinion, but I do think that the rapper baby mamas definitely played their part in influencing this generation's beauty standards, similar to the Kardashians. I know that's bold, but I think what the Kardashians really did was take what the rapper baby mamas already had, or maybe they possessed. Obviously, they did it before the rise of the rapper baby mamas, but essentially those ladies naturally possess a lot of what the Kardashians took, and then they obviously capitalized off of it with the bigger platforms that they have, being that they're just that much more famous. But when I look at the fashion and the hairstyles, especially black hairstyles, and even down to the way how social media is carried out by women within this generation, it does kind of stem from all of this. Now, I was kind of late to catch on to who Ari Fletcher was in comparison to other social media users around my age. However, it didn't take long for me to see how big Ari and maybe some of the other girls truly are. So Ari is currently on a reality TV show called Impact ATL that just premiered their second season. And I decided to watch it because I did watch the first season, and I do think that they have enough influence and interest for them to have a show. Like, people actually do like these girls, people do follow them, and they are very popular. Initially, I was like on the fence, like, why do they need a show? But I'm not gonna lie, the first season was decent enough, and I think it did bring in a lot of viewers, and people did like the show, so the second season made sense. And after watching the first 2 episodes of the second season, I really did realize that a lot of these girls are under a lot of pressure. Most of their pressure comes from how they look, what they put out, and remaining an it girl. Now, I know there's a lot of people that don't like Ari. I've been critical of her, but I will say the TV show does paint her in a very likable way. If you watch the show, you're almost inclined to think that she's very down to earth, genuine, fun-loving individual, but I do think she does have that, but I think the internet shenanigans has tainted a lot of people's perceptions of her. People like to say that those who oppose the image of what Ari represents only do so because they're operating with respectability politics, but I don't really agree. Her attitude is a problem. But I also think the excuse of respectability politics, I think that's a cop-out when people hold people accountable for what type of influence that they have. But I can't deny how much these girls, between Ari and Jada Chivez and other women within that industry, are under immense pressure to maintain this image. And I'm not just talking about the hair and the makeup, I really mean the entire ordeal. And I think because they've been able to somewhat withstand the test of time over the last 5+ years, I mean, they are still relevant, they have definitely added more pressure to a lot of young women to be viewed in that image as well. So I wanted to take a different spin to some of my previous videos surrounding this topic and discuss the implications of these types of figures in the media and in society. So I've broken this video down into 2 main talking points. So without further ado, let's get right into this video. So my first point is the pressure never stops. So why Ari sparked this video topic was a post and delete tweet that Ari made the other day. So she said, "How many times do I have to get this double chin liposuction until it's gone? WTF? Do I need a effing facelift? This is pissing me off." And I remembered back in like 2021, Ari got chin lipo. And basically that's a procedure where they remove the excess chin fat from your chin/neck area, basically creating a slimmer jawline. And as we know, the heart-shaped face, sweetheart neckline is in right now. And why I found this to be essentially shocking was because I never knew that this was a type of procedure growing up. I think a lot of our generation was pretty naive to cosmetic work. It wasn't on any type of platform. It wasn't a casual conversation. Getting implants or any type of modification situation was pretty much a muted circumstance. It wasn't just out in the open. So people talked about it amongst their affluent friends who could easily afford these services. But for the average everyday woman who works a 9-to-5 or honestly maybe is an entrepreneur, it just wasn't something that interested people that much because I feel like it wasn't in front of our faces as much as well. And of course, celebrities have always been nipping and tucking, but I think being younger and naive and even older people during maybe the 90s and the 2000s didn't really notice these things because there was no transparency about it. But now we live in this era of your image having a hyper focus, so we can literally see a before and after, or we can look at a girl's body and say we know it's a BBL. The hips and the laterals always tell. We can determine someone who has had lip filler. We see these things because we're more exposed to it. So referencing back to her tweet, why it kind of alarms me was for two reasons. One, I share the same problem. Like, I have a very chubby face. I used to be pretty thin naturally, but I've graduated to a size large. I can't even fit a medium anymore. It shocks me every day. And it's been a challenge to accept that within my body, being that I'm someone that was growing up in size small, sometimes extra small, depending on what it was. But now it's like I can gain 10 pounds, even if it's muscle weight. And for some reason, fat just sits around my jawline. And it's probably the feature that I hate the most about myself. But on the flip side, people are always commenting about my cheekbones or having a full face or having this chunky smile. So it makes me think, am I only pointing attention to this supposed insecurity of mine because of what I see on social media on a constant basis? Or is this truly something that I just don't like? And I think that's where the pressure of all of these body modifications and subsequently the outcome of changing yourself really comes down to. But let's hold that thought. Now, the second reason why this tweet sparked my interest is because the lack of satisfaction that Ari has. It baffles me that these girls have been elevated to the status of the it girl, beauty influencer, or just overall a sought after public figure. However, they're still not satisfied. And I'll say the same thing about the Kardashians. For women who spend thousands of dollars on fillers, implants, fat removal, whatever it may be, and then still post photos online that are severely edited and then still want more modifications, that is what you call pretty pressure. We talk about pretty privilege, which is an ideology that the more attractive you are, the more privileges that you are granted. But pretty pressure now says that once you've cascaded into the circle of pretty privilege, can you withstand the pressure? Can you stand the rain? I mean, come on, baby, can you stand the rain? Anyway, can you stand the rain? Like, can you stand the pressure? The reason why I went so hard on this topic back in 2022 and haven't really made any videos pertaining to body image as much this year is because I knew that eventually people will start to realize that you can nip and tuck and pluck and suck, but that is not the solution to the pressure of being pretty. That's not the solution to having self-esteem. That's not the solution to feeling happy about what you look like, because most of this pressure obviously comes from social media and what we visualize. That's obvious, but the real truth is that it mainly comes from our minds, our mentality, our brain. And you could say that we're visualizing these things and it sits in our brain and then it flushes out as body dysmorphia or lack of confidence, having a problem with what you look like. And I think all of that is definitely true, but I think a lot of it is you're never going to be satisfied when you take a shortcut to working on your self-esteem. And that's a bar. I'm not here to encourage or not encourage someone to get these modifications because I understand the pressure. But what I am saying is, if Ari is looked at as a revered social media influencer, someone who is very much influential, someone who does have a brand that millions of people follow, someone that has influenced this generation's fashion, body looks, face, hair, and makeup trends and so forth, if she herself still needs more to feel better, we've got to read in between the lines. Like, honestly. And that was really what I was trying to say about this topic since I ever touched it. It's not about shaming someone for having a BBL because who gives a damn? It's not about being jealous of a girl's Coke bottle body. I have one myself naturally. And yes, I will talk my shit because y'all be trying me, okay? Y'all be wanting me to look like an ugly Princess Fiona Shrek girl who was a hater of influencers and female rappers. But then people see what I look like and they be like, oh, okay. Yeah, y'all be scrambling, but let me shut up. But anyway, she got the chin lipo 2 years ago, and now she's probably going to do it again. And now she's even considering something that's even more severe, like a facelift to fix the issue. Mind you, a facelift is like for older women, like it's not for young people, especially for someone like her who is only 28 years old. Like, you're very young. Now, I feel like honestly for Ari, when I look at her and I see her before pictures, she was a pretty girl. Of course, she doesn't look exactly how she looks now, but her before pictures gives me regular teenage girl in the 2010s, or as I like to call it the 20 teens. This was what a lot of us used to look like back then. We looked like regular, everyday people. And granted, we're looking at photos in which Ari is probably a teenager, so of course someone is going to change from then until now. But I see somebody who, in the grand scheme of things, would not be deemed as unattractive. And I think, obviously, the explosion of her celebrity, if you will, and her moving to a city like Atlanta, where it is very superficial, and it is the Black Hollywood where everyone is proving themselves every single time they step outside, it does add extra pressure to be the top look. And side note, that is actually the real reason why I fell out of love with the idea of moving to Atlanta. Maybe I just have to change like where I was gonna go, but if you would have asked me back in college, what are you doing after you graduate? I told everybody that I wanna move to Atlanta. I wanna take off with my influencing and my YouTube. I wanna network and be in these places, until I had a very scary situation in Atlanta 2 years ago, which I actually should definitely talk about, but I'll only post it on Patreon. But I've been to ATL a few times, and one thing I did notice was that just going to the mall wasn't a casual experience for a lot of people. Everything seemed like a competition, a fashion show, who has the most designer. And I guess as an influencer or a YouTuber, I think those terms are synonymous in certain cases, but I could definitely keep up with all of that, I guess, but I definitely can't deal with the pressure. I feel like after a while, I would have gotten burnt out, and it seems like a lot of work to maintain that look. And I do think that times have shifted a little bit, which I will touch on in the second point, but it kind of turned me off because I like to live a normal life outside of the YouTube stuff. But back to the topic at hand, I think it's crazy that all of these women have basically been influencing people to, oh, if you feel insecure about something, if you don't like your body, just go get a BBL, just go get your body done. If you have small lips, you don't like how they look, just go get the filler. They've been promoting this so casually, as if it doesn't take planning, dieting, pre-operation consultations, money, care credit, post-op, massages, transportation, all of these different things to get some of this work done. So when we look at Ari now, there's obviously changes. You can literally go on TikTok and there's doctors on there that will tell you everything that she's gotten done. There's a lot of pages that have shown different tidbits of what she has allegedly gotten done. Ari maintains that her butt is natural. It does move like a real butt, and it might be. I never thought it was. I never thought she had implants though, but at this point, it's her word against everybody else's. But she looks conventionally prettier per se, right? She looks like the social media standard, and she kind of had her hands in creating this standard. But I don't think people have considered how Ari, and again, other women that are within this realm, she's just the example of today's video, but have actually shifted the beauty standards more and more and more. So we reference the Kardashians a lot, and I do think that they play a huge chunk of the blame. But I think in Black spaces and in the urban media, these girls are just as influential. They've also fallen for the pressure, put the pressure onto others, and actually have to maintain the pressure that still exists. So I think Ari does look good. The reason why I will never talk about the way how she looks is because we have too many similar features, and that would be very hypocritical of me. Like, here's a picture of Ari, here's a picture of myself. We both got the Mr. Potato Head heads. Yes, I do have a fat face. I actually think it's cute. I just don't like the extra chin. But I'm a thicker girl, so I guess that's where the weight goes. Somebody tell me how to lose weight in my face. But we both have bigger noses compared to our lips, very arched eyebrows, very circle eyes that are kind of close together. It's actually kind of weird, but we have similar features. So I think she looks good with the enhancements, but I don't think she's done with the enhancements, which is why I've always encouraged people to try to stay away from modifying, because once you start, I'll be real, the majority of people don't stop. I have a few friends that have gotten BBLs and all of them want to get more work. And it does kind of upset me, but I've never told anybody what to do with their body. I said that we should promote natural bodies so that people feel more comfortable in not falling for the pressure. But again, people do fall for the pressure, and that pressure to be pretty doesn't stop just because you have 1 million followers and verified nakers in your DM. It actually doesn't really stop at all. Now, before we move into our second point, let's introduce today's video sponsor, which is Mekify.
Question would be, what makes your business different or unique from other online businesses?
A few things. Number one, a lot of online businesses are dealing with abstract stuff, like you're dealing with cryptocurrency, you're dealing with stocks, and people don't understand those things easily. What differentiates us is that we actually take time to learn about people. Before anybody starts, we engage them in a call like that. Ask them those questions about themselves, their family, and that gives them the ability to know that it's relatable. We tell people that, well, this is where we were 4 years ago, and this is where we are now. They say, how did you manage it? It is this. It changes lives, truly.
Now, my second and final point is, can we keep up? Like, can we keep up with the pressure, and what are my predictions of what may happen? Can we keep up? Hold on, I just got some Beyonce in me. Can we keep up? Baby boy, you made me lose my breath. All right, let me stop. But my blunt and straightforward answer is no. We all know the saying about mind over matter, but when your mind is convoluted with something that is either artificial or detrimental to you, your mind is going to win. Hence why people struggle with mental health, hence why people struggle with substance abuse and so forth. The fact of the matter is that everyone is made in the image of God, if you're a believer, or everyone is made how they're supposed to come out. And this generation has made body modification seem like a walk in the park, where I think Generation Alpha is doomed. I think a lot of them are growing up with immense insecurity that is unlike any other generation prior. I'm only 26 years old. Shout out to the 97 born babies. We in the house tonight, right? But I feel like I had a regular childhood for the most part. The infiltration of social media and handheld devices were more towards the end of my high school years going into college. The term influencer was added into the dictionary in 2019. It was being professionally referenced in 2016, which means it's still kind of new. We've had going on 8 years of what I think influencer culture is, because I do think it started around 2016 in a heavy capacity, and it's growing exponentially since. But in 2016, I was a 19-year-old freshman in college. I was about to be a sophomore, and at that point, I am an adult, just a very young adult, but I didn't really grow up looking at completely altered images of women on a daily basis. I remember being young and watching Disney Channel and not baddies. Of course, I watched Bad Girls Club as a high schooler, but let's be real, it's two completely different shows. The baddies of today really isn't even the Bad Girls Club of yesteryear. That's a video for another day. And let me know if y'all want me to do a video on Bad Girls Club. I've been waiting to do it. But I remember actually being a kid. I remember actually being a teenager. I remember life before influencers, advertisement, and just the social media entity wasn't as big as it is now. So I know we like to say that if you're born in the 2000s, you're different than people born in the 90s and 80s, but I do think there is a major difference, and it kind of comes down to, are you a tech baby or are you not? To me, if you were in middle school or high school during or after 2018, 2019, when the influencer culture was at its peak, then in most cases, you have a sense of growing up with this pressure. But Generation Alpha is coming along. I'm no longer 16, I'm closer to 30 now. So there's a new generation of young people who are looking at all of these images face value, but we're not old enough during the time when it really wasn't like this, when the pressure wasn't as immense. And of course, every generation has faced pressure from the media and insecurities and things like that. But let's be real, it's completely different now. And I didn't make this video to bash Ari. I just think it's very interesting how for the last few years, we've put out this message to young women in particular, of all races at that if you feel insecure about something, save up a few $100s or a few $1,000s and go fix it. We don't even recommend healthier methods of alleviating insecurity. We don't recommend the gym. We don't recommend therapy. We don't recommend getting off the phone. I mean, we do now that we see these implications starting to come into fruition. But like I said, between 2019 and 2021, it was in our faces and down our throats. So can we keep up with this pressure as women in society, because it mainly affects us? And I think the answer is no. Beauty will forever be at a high priority in the lives of many women. And I don't think there's anything really wrong with that. I mean, I pride myself on looking good. I go out of my way to do it. It is a feminine quality that I think a lot of women go by. But beauty is different than manufactured beauty. And then when you add in the social media stuff, it's just a fat L, okay? I'm not trying to discourage our generation or just the entity of women, but I say this all to say we need to start reading in between the lines. Even the girls who have set some of these standards and promoted this imagery are not satisfied, because you'll never be satisfied when you take shortcuts to fixing your self-esteem. You'll try to get the quick fix every time when there's really nothing wrong with you physically. You're in good health, all of your limbs work, you're not sick. What really is messed up is everyone's mental approach to what we see on a daily basis. And I will be one to admit that now more than ever, it does affect me. A few years ago when I wasn't making music, it wasn't as big as a deal. I could just easily talk about it. But now I'm in front of the camera a lot more. Now I have to look at myself a lot more. Now I have to take more pictures. Now I'm doing more opportunities in which I'm showing my face and more. And subsequently, you become more nitpicky about your looks, because the pressure that already comes with the type of job that I do, but I'm also living in the society that I'm living in. So being that it is hard to keep up, the best we can do is challenge the pressure to be pretty by reminding our mental that you don't have to be satisfied through the social lenses of society. society. When I look at pictures, I see it as, oh, someone's pretty, or I'll call someone cute, I'll like their outfit, but I also remind myself to take it with a grain of salt. That way it's not weighing on my mental that the image that I just viewed is an expectation for me, because it really shouldn't be. I see a shift happening where we are kind of resorting back to a softer life, more natural makeup looks, more natural hairstyles. Back during the Kylie Jenner era of makeup, we were doing bold lipstick colors, eyeshadow palettes, winged eyeliner, stacked lashes, harsh contour. But have y'all noticed that we don't do that as much anymore? We've kind of evolved into a more natural makeup look, which I do think means we're heading in the right direction. However, that pressure is there and will always be there. So remember to be kind to yourself, speak those words of affirmations to yourself, and take everything you see online with a grain of salt. Trust me, y'all, you will be happier. So that is it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed. Please let me know your commentary on my commentary down below. What do you think? What do you know? Let me know. Don't forget to check out our video sponsor, Mekify. If you need any questions answered or you're interested at all, please call or text the number on your screen. They're waiting to help you, and they're here to assist you in your journey with Mekify. Also, stay tuned for the preview of my new song, Rich Auntie, that is dropping at the end of this month. Man, we just shot the video. That joint about to be popping. But stay tuned for my snippet of Rich Auntie. Tell me if you guys like it. Are you waiting? Are you gonna download it? Are you gonna watch the video when it drops? I gotta stay tuned for more music. And lastly, don't forget to follow me on all of my social media networks, and I will see y'all in my next video. Bye, y'all.
It's Quincy, you'll never be. Y'all not want my pedigree. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Your man told me I'm precious. I'm too hot, stay out my desert. Humbling joints is my pleasure. I'm in the game and y'all just redshirt. New freestyle to your checklist. Pull it to your block like I play Tetris. Quiet hoe, let me finish my sentence. 10 that see like I'm from Memphis. Going big like I'm from Texas. Life is being blessed in exes. Made that boy make me his bench press. Now he breathless. Green, white, green when I be reppin'. Nardo wickin' when we steppin'. Jerky niggas I'm rejectin'. Make me teach your ass a lesson. I'ma call him when I need some money. I ain't tryna wait. Mansion in the motherland, bitch. Leave it by the gate. My brother counting money up. My sis driving the getaway. It's Queen Chioma trigger, cause you know I make it ricochet. Told y'all it's a ceremony. Every day a cabaret. Get out my way, I'm out the way. They say I'm out the ordinary. All my favorite cousins up, they round the way and on the way. Had to come to auntie house, cause last time I did 20 carats. I'ma call him when I need some money. I ain't tryna wait. Mansion in the motherland, bitch. Leave it by the gate. All my favorite cousins up, they round the way and on the way. Had to come to auntie house, cause last time I did 20K. Yo, Chioma, they don't know who they messin' with. I be where the blessings is. My pockets never deficit. You can't touch all this excellence. You gon' need a prerequisite. You gon' need some relevance, so cut it OT Genesis. Pat in the mail from my boys in Abuja. Big, meaty, spicy, juicy, baby, call me Suya. I said 24/7, we stacking, racking. I'm a bad bitch, you fraction, lacking. Counting bread while he playing Madden. I'm in the building, bitch, what's happening?